we got to talk about the actual tournament. The bracket comes out. The bracket came out Sunday evening. No Greg Gumbel, rest in peace. The voice of college basketball, and I guess CBS Sports largely. But I got a lot of takeaways, so we're going to talk about it. So takeaway number one involves Michigan because I kind of feel like they got the short end of the stick. I'm going to do a little thing that I don't do a lot on this show because I don't usually have a lot of opportunity to do it. I'm going to defend Michigan a little bit. Look, I understand that the rule, or not the rule, the way the committee does this is they're really not going to take into account the Big Ten championship tournament game, or any of the games that happen after Saturday, essentially. By Sunday, there's really not, it's more of just preparing the presentation of the bracket. Just being honest, they just aren't going to be able to take into account. I don't think it's fair. I don't know why the Big Ten chooses to do its conference tournament championship game on the Sunday of Selection Sunday. I don't make the rules. All right, they could do it a day earlier and then finish it on Saturday, and then on Saturday, you can take into account. But either way, Michigan gets kind of screwed because their end of season was obviously not great. Any Michigan fan would tell you that. But then their conference tournament, they get hot. They beat Purdue. They beat Maryland. And then they go out and they beat Wisconsin. They win the whole gosh darn thing. They get to raise a banner in the old Chrysler Center. And what they get to show for it in the tournament is the 5 seed and getting matched up against UC San Diego, who, I can just look at the little, I believe it has a little analytics. Yeah, here. Not exactly a team that I would feel great about going up against, to be perfectly honest. This is a team that, shoots 36% from 3, more than Michigan. They shoot 74% from the free throw line, more than Michigan. They don't really out-rebound Michigan, but they are pretty comparable in assists. They out-steal Michigan by a lot. This is a team that steals the basketball almost 10 times a game. And this is just coming right from the March Madness website here. This is not going to be any walk in the park. I know 5-12 matchups, usually, these are not, necessarily there. A lot of times in my experience of doing brackets, 5-12, those are potentially your bracket busters. Those are your, oh, well, I don't really know any better, but a 5 seed, that's a lot bigger than a 12 seed. I don't even know what UC San Diego, what are they, the Tridents, the Forks? I don't know what they are. But this is a game that's certainly winnable for UC San Diego. Now, obviously, Michigan is going to go in as something of favorites. I want to say, and I want to see if it actually shows this. It does not. It doesn't look like they show the spreads here on the NCAA website, which is not unsurprising. But they are not going to go into this game as heavy favorites. If I'm Michigan, I'm pissed, not because of just the seeding itself, because you look at where some of the other teams are seeded, but because of the matchup. If you're going to be a 5, why couldn't you have matched up against, let's just kind of go down the list here. I'm trying to find the other 5 seed, a Colorado State or a McNeese, a Battle of the Block M's. Again, not like any of these are great, teams to have to go up against. Again, these 12 seeds, they sneak up on you. They can do some damage for sure. And on the other end of it, with the seeding where Michigan is, Michigan State ends up in the same region as Michigan with a 2 seed, which, I guess winning the Big Ten outright, having not the best Big Ten tournament, losing in the semifinal. Yeah, it would have been the semifinal, unfortunately, to Wisconsin, but in a close game. So, there wasn't any concern there. Michigan State's going to take on Bryant. And if you know where Bryant is, you get no points because I had to look this up. Apparently, it's in Providence, Rhode Island. So they're the Bulldogs. I got nothing more to say about that other than, given the fact that Michigan and Michigan State are in the same region. I can't remember the last time, if this has ever happened, that they were in the same region. We have a potential, technically, to have an Elite 8 rematch between Michigan and Michigan State for, the Final Four. I mean, regardless of anything, that's some good television. And I'm sure the committee knew that. I'm sure CBS and TNT and True TV and all of them. I'm sure they all know that. They're all well aware. But I would be surprised, to be honest, one way or the other, either Michigan or Michigan State both end up in the Elite Eight. But if they do, that is probably going to be one of the most highly anticipated, highly watched college basketball games of a very, very long time. Mark my words. Second point I want to talk about, just a couple of teams that, and again, I'm not a college basketball expert, so don't take this and say, well, the funny sports guy said no. I'm just a guy who's looked at a lot of brackets and just has a lot of experience doing this. Just my gut feelings. All right. UConn, the reigning champions, they're down in the West division, and they are the 8th seed. They're taking on the 9th seed Oklahoma. Now, here's my thing. All right. Reigning champs, you maintain your coach. Obviously, you lost a lot of that roster. It's not the same team, obviously. I'm just saying, sometimes these teams, they kind of sneak in. They're not really, well known. Now, obviously, being the 8th seed, you're going to be pinned up against potentially Florida, assuming they get the job done against Norfolk State. It's not the best situation. However, UConn knows how to do it. It's a basketball school. It's primarily the only thing that UConn is really known for is basketball. Not to disparage Florida. They've won some national championships too. They've always been a pretty decent basketball program as well. And also not to totally disparage Oklahoma. I'm just saying, reigning champs, it's something to consider. Other team to look out for is the 7th seed, Kansas in the West region. And again, similar kind of deal. I know they got Hunter Dickinson, former Michigan big man there. He's a really good player. They're taking on Arkansas. And the thing is, they're taking on Calipari, former Kentucky coach. And if there's one thing Calipari knows how to do, it's lose in the tournament. So obviously, Kansas would be matched up against either Omaha or St. John's, who's the 2 seed. So again, it's not the most ideal situation for them to get out of that first weekend. But I'm just saying, it's they're a team to look out for potentially. Now, as far as the 1 seeds go, to me, it's like, if we're going polar opposites, I think it's Duke as the main powerhouse with Cooper Flagg, who's basically, everybody knows, the number 1 overall pick. He's on the thumbnail of the video of the show, and it's Duke. It's Duke. They're basketball school. They always seem to be in that higher upper echelon. There was a few years there near the end where they were kind of falling off, but they've gotten right back to where they are comfortable. And Cooper Flagg is the real deal. Yeah, he will mess you up. I mean, he was playing at a pretty high level when he was on the Olympic practice team, I believe. He was just, obviously it's a practice team, so take for that what you will, but still. On the other end of it, I got Auburn. And the reason I got Auburn, and this is not, I have no facts, I have no logic necessarily. There's logic actually. I have no like physical evidence. What I do have is Bruce Pearl in the tournament. SEC does not do well in college basketball. Outside of Kentucky and Florida, the traditionally football programs, the Auburns, the Alabamas, those teams, they don't usually do that well. They usually will lose to the more seasoned programs. And Bruce Pearl has showed that not only is he going to lose to the seasoned programs, he very well could lose to the teams that are known for studying, i.e. Yale. Now, they're the number 1 seed this time, so they don't have to worry about a Yale sneaking up on them, I believe. I don't think they were the number 1 seed last year. They'll have to see who they play. The play-in games are happening right now, and then a couple more as well tomorrow. I'm just saying, and maybe this is going to be the MSU homer bias. If the question is, who is going to have his team more prepared for a Elite 8 game to go to the Final Four, Tom Izzo or Bruce Pearl? I'm not taking Bruce Pearl. That's all I'm saying. Again, you can call it MSU homer. Excuse me. Call it MSU homer, whatever you want to call it. I'm just telling you, in the tournament, things just slow down for these seasoned coaches for the, some of the, I was gonna say Calipari, but I already slandered him. Some of these seasoned coaches. I know Tom Izzo was one of the last at this point. And Bruce Pearl, man, I can't get the vision of him losing to Yale. I just can't get that out of my mind. It's in my mind. I can't get it out. So there's that. And finally, this is really just a personal thing. This is not really a statement on the tournament itself. Why the heck do both the Michigan teams have to end up with 10 p.m. games? I mean, like, look, with Michigan's game, okay, they're playing UC San Diego. I get it in some sense. The California market, the San Diego market, you put it at 10 so that you still get most of those UC, because it's probably going to be more viewership. Well, Michigan's a Big Ten team, so you might get a decent amount, but you're trying to draw in those California viewers, right? That want to see the upset. With Michigan State, it doesn't make any sense because, like I said, Bryant is in Rhode Island. Michigan State is a 2 seed. I understand that, again, sometimes it happens this way. This is just how the matchups work. But the game is being played in Cleveland. So it's not like it's just a night game. So I don't understand it. It bothers me. I get that this is, somebody's going to have to get the 10 p.m. game. And it's not necessarily going to align up with geography or with the West Coast or whatever. I don't know how they can't make that happen. Like, again, Michigan's playing UC San Diego. I get that being at 10 p.m., or I'm trying to think of some of these other, Grand Canyon being a 10 p.m. game. I get it, trying to find some of these other West Coast teams. UCLA, Utah State. I get that being a 10 p.m. game. Or, again, those are the ones that come to mind, I guess. I'm kind of scrolling through. I'm trying to see if I can find some more West Coast teams. I don't know where VCU is. I think that's Vermont. I don't think that would work. Either way, there's enough. There should be enough West Coast matchups where, okay, we'll put a team that has if there's a West Coast on it, we'll put that team at 10. I don't know what went into the thought process of putting 2 of the biggest Big Ten storylines in Michigan and Michigan State at 10 p.m. when one of those teams, Michigan State, is a 2 seed. I don't understand it. They don't come to me for these things, but I would just like an explanation if they would be so kind. So either way, I love this time of year. I love the brackets. I got a group of people doing a bracket myself. If you don't have a group of people doing a bracket, go and get a group. I don't care if you don't know anything about college basketball. I don't care if you couldn't identify Yale versus Lipscomb or any of these colleges. I don't care. It's fun. It's stupid because random things happen. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when you had Middle Tennessee State beating Michigan State, or oh my gosh, was it Monmouth who beat? Oh my gosh, there was one year where Duke lost to some random school. I mean, I'm sure that doesn't really narrow it down, but crazy things happen in March. Teams you don't expect to win go on crazy runs. Teams you do expect to win get blasted. It happens. I mean, we've recently seen a 16 seed beat a 1 seed. It's only happened twice. But it can happen. It can happen. Not that it will, but that it can. And don't, bet your entire house on a bracket. That is stupid. And also, if you do happen to get the perfect bracket and win the car, I'm just curious. How do they, if you win the car, let me know. I actually am curious. I don't think they actually have a car ready, because I just think they're like, oh, there's no way anybody's getting a perfect bracket. The odds of getting a perfect bracket are basically impossible. There's no car. I'm convinced. Hi, it's me again. If you enjoyed what you just saw, hit the like and subscribe button. We do live shows every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you there.